A lot of people are upset there's actual content. Well, because I think I enjoy these, but the FOMO is the problem. As soon as you make the content, like, actually just, like, as FOMO as possible, like, here's a bunch of free stuff that you can get, but you have to do this within a certain amount of time, which means you have to binge Genshin, and you can't play your other games, and you can play your other games, but actually you have to interrupt them to make sure that you do this on time. That's what makes it unfun. That's what makes people not want to play, which I think is completely valid. I think that, like, FOMO is killing games. I think that FOMO is actually hurting the gaming, just gaming as a whole. But it's also improving playtime for, like, all the companies. That's cool for them, I guess. They give plenty of time. Well, here's the thing, guys. If you're burnt out on something, it takes more than 2 weeks to be ready to do it again. And if you try to force yourself to recover from burnout and you try to go early because you need to, like, it only take, you know, an hour of your time. You should just do it, right? Like, it's not that bad. It's just an hour. And you try to force yourself to do that, it just makes you more burnt out. This is what happened to me with YouTube. Also, by the way, burning out on games is a thing that started happening once people started putting FOMO shit into the games. Burning out on games was like, if you didn't want to play a game, there was nothing wrong with that. You just play a different game, right? But now if you don't want to play a game, you're gonna actually just miss out on, like, a core part of some kind of event. Burnout didn't used to be a problem. Now burnout is a huge fucking problem. And if you're like me and you, like, want to make videos and you're like, I need to make videos once every 3 weeks or so. If you make one video in between that time, you are going to dread every second of it while you're burnt out, and then it's gonna make you not want to continue, which is what happened to me multiple of times. That's a live service thing. Kind of, right? Because Overwatch is a live service, but there haven't been fucking events on Overwatch in a hell long time. They just recently started doing that. Overwatch is a live service, but you don't miss out on everything if you take a month off of the game. You just don't play the game for a month. My big problem has been that I got really tired of pushing out content for Sumeru and stuff and trying to do all the events on top of that. But then it's like, okay, well, I have 3 events that I have to do by the same day. And if I don't finish them, then I'm kind of fucked. And then if I spend an hour on the game, it makes me not want to play the game even more. Like, that's why my breaks are so long, because I try to come back and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I've taken a break. But then I haven't taken a long enough break, and then I feel twice as exhausted as when I started. Yeah, limited time event thing for sure, right? Like, I think gaming is, like, both at the best spot it's been in forever, and also the worst spot it's ever been in. I think the games like, the potential we have for new games is so good, and I think the thing that companies are doing with it is so fucking bad. But it's like, it's just what happens when something becomes popular and, like, really, like, super fucking commercialized. It's like, it's destined to happen. It sounds like a case of Genshin becoming your job. It's not even just Genshin, though. It's any time-limited game. Any game where I log in and there are 3 events happening for 2 weeks, where if I don't do them, I will have to work really hard to compensate for the lost time, or there's an item that I will never, ever be able to get again because there's no recovery shops or anything like that. And then I have that on every single game. It's not just Genshin. It's on Honkai. It's on any Hoyoverse game, really. It's on every mobile game. And now it's on every kind of console game that you can play that's multiplayer. Any sort of multiplayer live service game has it, right? And it's like actually killing video games. It's like, even if Genshin wasn't my job, if any other game was my job, I would still feel the same about every single one of them. It's too much to play more than one time-gated event at once. Yes. If one game has time-gated events, you'll burn out on that game eventually, right? But when every single game, fuck, where's my paint? Where's my paint, chat? Where's my paint? All right, let's say we have Genshin, right? Genshin. Let's say you play it for 1 to 2 hours a day. Let's say you literally are incapable of playing Genshin Impact for more than 1 to 2 hours a day because you want to play Genshin. The game is really good. You want to play, but there's not enough content to supply more than 1 to 2 hours a day of content. So you want to play a second game on top of Genshin because you can't play Genshin all day. So let's say for example, you want to play Destiny. Let's say you want to play Destiny and you don't want to PvP all the time. So you do all of your dailies and all of the things you can on Destiny, but you're at the end game. You've done your weekly raid. You've done your weekly nightfall. So you can play the game for about an hour or 2 a day. And then let's say you want to play Honkai. And let's say Honkai has about 3 hours a day of content because they have so much fucking content in that game and so many events, right? So let's say you take the maximum out. Let's say you take like 2, 1, so you have 6 hours a day of gaming. And these are all games that you want to play more of, but you can't because they don't have enough actual live content in the game for you to consistently do because they are all time gated, right? So let's say you can play 6 hours of these games a day. These are your favorite games. New game comes out, Elden Ring. Elden Ring comes out. Actually good single player game. You don't have more than 6 hours a day to play. And so you want to play Elden Ring for like 2 to 3 hours. And so you need to take 2 to 3 hours from these 6 hours of time. you now have to cut out 2 to 3 hours of Genshin, Destiny, or Honkai. But the problem is, now that you want to cut out Destiny, Genshin, or Honkai so you can make time for Elden Ring, when you cut out your Genshin hours, you no longer get to spend your resin. You no longer get to do your commissions, and you no longer get to do the time-limited events that you need to keep up if you want to, like, because it's a gacha game, so every resource is precious. So now you literally can't. You literally are incapable of doing this, equals minus primos. You lose primos and progress. Let's say you want 3 hours. So now you lose, I don't know what you grind on Destiny, but you lose something, right? But you still make your time for your 3 hours a day of Honkai. But the entire time, let's say an event comes up in Genshin Impact that gives you an exclusive sword, right? Like, they give you an exclusive sword as a part of this event, right? This is gonna be the most beautiful sword you've ever seen, actually. Exclusive sword. If you don't do this event, which this is a story-based event because all of the weapon-based events usually have a story, so this is gonna take you about 6 hours to do, right? Let's say 6 hours because the dialogue in Genshin takes 15 years to read, and 6 hours is your speed run. So you now need to take away 6 hours of your Elden Ring time, even though Elden Ring might be the one game that you want to play the most. What if Elden Ring is the game that you want to play, but you can't, so you have to take away time from Honkai? But Honkai has a limited time event right now. Honkai gives you a free skin for a character, but you have to play for 6 more hours. And so, like, where do you find the time to play the games you want to fucking play when every single game has mechanics that keep you coming back to the game, that don't let you binge it and play it all day because you literally can't, because there's not enough content in the game for that, but there's rotating content every single fucking week that requires you to come back to that game, grind it out for a certain amount of time that takes away from your ability to actually play the games that you want to fucking play. But like, you want to play Genshin, it's just the problem is that it requires you to play it. As soon as something makes you have to do it, if you want to keep up with the game, let's say this is especially applicable if you're free to play. If you're like a free to play player and you want to get the next character, you have to play Genshin. You cannot take a break unless you are extremely lucky. Right? You literally don't have an option because it's a gacha game. Look, all I'm saying is, like, it's so easy to burn out on these games if every single one of them demands like a certain amount of time for you, just for you to like get the exclusive thing that they only air once at a time. And it sucks because the games are good. If the games were bad, nobody would care. But it's Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact is fun. There's lots of like really good things about the game. Honkai is really fun. Honkai has some really cool stuff in it. You want to get the skins so you can have the skins to play with because they're like really cool. They add visual effects or whatever. You want to play Destiny so you can keep your light level up so you can make sure that you can do the new raids when they come out. But Elden Ring just came out. Where do you find the time to play when every single game requires a certain time out of you? Because it becomes everyone's job. I personally, like, I do this for a job because I do YouTube, I do Twitch. I enjoy the game. I really do love the game. But the problem is, it's becoming your job too. I don't know, unless you're just like literally the most chill person ever that doesn't care if they miss like limited time events, limited time swords. Like, if you had Albedo and Cinnabar Spindle came out and you skipped the event just because you didn't care, you are the most powerful person the world has ever seen. Don't play multiple live service games as a solution. It's really hard to do though, right? Because they're good. It's like, what's the solution? Just don't play a game that you really enjoy. I mean, that is the solution, but like, nobody wants to do that. You know, like, if you enjoy the story of Honkai and you want to beat Honkai, you're gonna play Honkai. Are you gonna not touch Honkai because it's a live service? Maybe some people won't, but I think that the problem is that every single game wants all of your, or not all of your time, wants a portion of your time, and that makes it feel like a job, unless you can escape that FOMO. If you don't feel FOMO, you're chilling. I think if Genshin was the only game I played, I wouldn't care. I'd just play Genshin every day. That'd be fine. A lot of people that just play Genshin, they're completely fine. But if you're like a gamer that likes to binge games for long periods of time, Elden Ring is your kind of game where you can set it down, pick it up whenever you want, and you're not missing anything. Part of the reason people freaked out about Elden Ring being such a good game is because it was one of the first games that didn't actually go out of its way to fuck your free time. Well, it does fuck your free time because there's so much content, but you enjoy every second of it, and you don't lose Elden Ring if you put it down. You escape the Matrix once you reach AR60. I wish. As a content creator, it's more of my job than it is of your guys' jobs, because like I have to make content so that I can live. But regardless, like, you know, where do you find the time? If you play multiple games you enjoy, that's the problem with time gating and live service. I don't feel burnt out after playing. I just hate the resin restrictions for grinding. Well, that's the thing, is like, you have the opposite side. You have people who only play Genshin who want to play the game more. I mean, actually, I think everyone wants to play Genshin more if they're not burnt out on the game, right? Dude, if this game didn't have resin cap, I'd be playing this so much more because I would just be grinding out like the perfect sets for all my characters. If there was no resin cap, we would have gotten a perfect set for every character by now. Not perfect, but a lot of set. But that's the opposite side, because like a lot of those people people, I feel like, play Genshin mostly as like their main game. But yeah, no, I don't know. I really enjoy Genshin Impact. I really enjoy Honkai. I really enjoyed Zenless, and I enjoyed Star Rail. And when those come out, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, guys. Oh yes, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't play multiple live service at a time. I can't do it. And it was like someone was saying earlier, it's like the solution is just don't play multiple live service. It's really hard because there's a lot of really good live service games out.